So today we'll do something called the transition poses. The reason why we call the transition poses is that, if you remember, in the first class you did something called the mountain pose. You're standing tall. So gradually we start coming down to the floor, finally ending up in the corpse pose or a shavasana. So today's class transitions from the standing poses into complete seated positions. So for today we'll do two important poses. The reason why we do these poses is because if you look at our body system, there are certain organs in our body which are inaccessible. You cannot reach them. For example, our liver, spleen and the digestive systems, they are all tucked deep inside us. So the only way to reach them is by performing certain asanas or poses which will help you access them. So that's what we'll be doing today. For that, we will be bringing our knees to the floor, and we don't want to end up hurting our knees. So what I would recommend is, if you have a blanket or if you have a pillow, please use one of this. Support your knee as much as you can. That's important because you don't want to end up your knee as you'll be placing all of your body weight on your knee. So use one of this. The first pose we'll do today is called the twisted side angle pose, also called the Parivrata Parshva Konasana. The one way to do this is what you already known, as we have done in the previous classes. Come into a triangle pose. Take your feet apart with your hands on your hips, stand straight. Gently turn to your side. We'll first do the right side, my right side. Gently turn towards, come into a square hip. If you've seen what I'm doing, the square hip which we explored in the previous day 6. In the square hip, when you here, gently, from here, gently go down. Go down such a way that you come into a place where you can support your forearm on your right leg. So once that's done, make sure your back leg is straight. Gently look up. Look up to come into the full expression of the pose. Parivrata Parshva Konasana. Look for a couple of things. Make sure there is no collapse happening in your shoulders. Look up straight. Look up. If looking up is a problem, you can always look down if you think you're going to lose balance. From here, you can stay here for 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Gradually increase the breath. If you see what's happening here, this twist is causing your internal organs. If you can feel the pressure on your spleen, liver, they're getting a good massage or a squeeze, if you will. Now, the one way to do this is, you can always take this block and bring it. You can bring this block, you can bring the block to support yourself on the side. To do this, stay here if that is a problem. The second way to do this is, you can always bring your knee down to the floor, and you can support your knee with a pillow if that is a problem. And come into this pose in this fashion. You can just stay here. That's good. You can even stay here. You don't necessarily have to lift your back leg. If you see what I'm staying here, I still get the squeeze that's happening on the front leg. You can see the squeeze happening on your, when I twist towards the side, you can still get the squeeze inside my organs. Now from here you can always lift the back leg if that is in your practice. For example, I would do this. The back legs, if this is easy for you, you can always do this. Perfect. Then look up. Okay, perfect. So that's one way to get into the pose. Now we'll do the other side. The second way to get into this pose is for a downward dog, which we'll explore that now. Come into downward dog. In a downward dog, I'll take my left leg, bring it here, and gently raise and twist. I'm going to twist to my left, coming into this twisted side angle pose. You have an option of bringing your knee down, your back leg down, support yourself with a pillow or a blanket, and stay here. You can stay here for 3 breaths. You can feel the squeeze happening inside your internal organs on the other side. It's important to do all these poses on both the sides. And most important, please do not forget your 5 commitments. Steadiness in your pose, ease, core line, the breath, finally the truth. Twist as much as you can. Okay, you can release. So that brings us to the end of the first pose. Now we have a second pose. You can continue from where you are left off. It's called the low lunge pose. So what you do is, if you're already here, this pose is very simple. All you have to do is just go deep in here, completely. You can always support yourself with blocks. I would recommend that you use a block here to get the deepest stretch possible. You can use a block here, gently go to the front, make sure that you have block on the other side. So what this does is, there is a certain muscle called psoas. The psoas muscle is deep inside, which you cannot see, which you cannot easily access. The only way to access that muscle is through doing this. You can gently chin up, or you can always take your hand up. If you're sufficiently balanced, you can always take your hand up into low lunge pose or Anjaneyasana. Okay. Now, for example, for several years I suffered from something called a hip impingement problem, and this pose fixes the problem. Any problems which has a role in your hip joint or hip socket, this pose will take care of all those issues. You can do the same on the other side. It's as easy as you can gently lean into this side. All you have to do is just stay here, or you can always take your hands up. Okay, so that brings us to the 2 poses for today, the transition poses, the low lunge hip pose and the twisted side angle pose. Welcome to your life lesson of the day. In the past few life lessons, we talked about food, nutrition, and how to eat healthily. Today, we'll talk about something far more and far of greater importance. First, recall the times when you set out a couple of goals for yourself. You wanted to perhaps lose all that weight. Perhaps you wanted to reach a certain physical frame, and you hired a trainer. With the help of the trainer and a lot of time spent at the gym, you finally reached that your perfect weight you had in mind, or that particular physical fitness. You're happy, elated, but something else happened after a couple of months. Something else is nagging you. You're no longer happy that you lost or you reached your goal. Something else is bothering you heavily. Perhaps you're not tall enough. Perhaps you don't look a certain way. If you look at what's happening here, it's not being overweight was what that made you unhappy in the first place. And it's not losing weight is what that will keep you happy forever. The real culprit is your lack of healthy self-body image. Lack of healthy body image is what's been bothering you. So it's more important to be naturally happy, find that inner peace and grounding. When you're naturally happy, it doesn't really matter whether you're old or young, overweight or thin, tall or short. You will find happiness in whatever you do in life. So it's not really about getting that yoga body. It's more important to have that yoga state of mind. Think of it this way. We are all as unique as the books in a library. Every book in the library is unique because it has its own story to tell. Imagine if every book in the library was the same book. You wouldn't be visiting the library often. You'll just need one visit to the library and you'll be done with it. So that's how unique we are. It's because everyone is different. Everyone has their certain qualities. Everyone has something to give to the world. That's what makes each one of us special. And when you understand the simple truth, you will naturally be happy. Now, it's perfectly all right if losing weight is your goal. That's perfectly all right. Lose weight because it makes you more healthy, more energetic, because it helps you achieve more, do certain physical activities. But it should not be because you're trying to please someone. You're trying to meet the expectations of what someone else's idea of weight or what somebody else's idea of physical fitness is. You have whatever you have to do it for yourself. In the long run, no matter what physical fitness you have or what yoga poses you can do, it's really about how happy you are with yourself. If you are happy with yourself, if you are contented with where you are in life, you have achieved everything you have set out to do in your life. So let's focus on our healthy body image, being happy with who we are, and when that happens, all will be naturally happy. So healthy body image. Thank you.